Welcome to Getting Our Reward Heads Together, the podcast for reward and HR leaders brought to you by Reward Heads. Each episode we explore the ideas, challenges and innovations shaping how organisations design, deliver and talk about reward. We're a boutique consultancy creating bespoke solutions for our clients, but we'll tell you more about that after the episode. For now, let's get started.
I'm Victoria Milford, CEO of Reward Heads.
And I'm Jannine Smith, Senior Consulting Manager at Reward Heads. Today, we're looking ahead to 2026 and what we think will shape the reward landscape in the year to come.
Yes, and if you haven't already listened to our 2025 review episode, that's a great place to start, because actually many of the themes we discussed there are continuing into 2026, just with new twists.
Yeah, so let's start with economics again, because no reward discussion is complete without it. I guess the big headline is the new national living wage rates for 2026. We're seeing another 4.1% increase and even higher increases for those who are under the age of 21.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were expecting to see the age threshold drop to 18, which would have been a huge change. I think I worked out it'd be something like a 20% increase for someone 18 to 20. And this feels like the government is still very much moving towards the goal of national living wage applying to age 18 and above, but not combining the two rates just yet. I mean, those increases would be great for younger workers, or would they? There's a real question for employers. Will that discourage them from hiring those first-time workers who are going to need more training?
Yeah, it's that classic tension, isn't it, between inclusion and affordability. And as those lower pay rates rise again, we continue to see even more pay compression across organisations. We're hearing it as a theme time and time again from our clients and in our forums. And sadly, there is no easy fix, really.
No, definitely. And in terms of broader salary growth, we are expecting to see that stabilise a bit, pay rises levelling out at around 3% or maybe dipping just a wee bit. And that's despite inflation still running higher than that. So after 3 months of 3.8%, it's now looking like 3.6%. But you don't need to be a great mathematician to know that inflation is higher than proposed pay rises for most.
Yeah, so in short, employees are still feeling the pinch. And employers are still trying to manage very tight budgets. I guess the challenge is balancing fairness and sustainability once again.
Yes, and I know from talking to our forums that a really big concern before the budget was about salary sacrifice and pensions. Now, in fact, what was announced was no national insurance relief for contributions over £2,000, but from 2029, and that was a lot softer than many had feared. So what I'm wondering is, given it doesn't take effect until 2029, do you think that means no action?
Actually, I think it might mean an increase in salary sacrifice in the short term, perhaps with more employees seeking to take advantage of it now while they can still use it. I guess, in fact, I've heard from 2 organisations in the last day or so who are actually powering ahead, looking to introduce pension salary sacrifice ASAP.
Interesting.
So I suppose after all, there's 3 more years of savings that they can be made. But I guess the age-old challenge for employers, are they going to set salary sacrifice up with no cap or apply the cap in advance? There's so much unpicking to do and so much to think about when you're talking about national insurance. It's just that we're talking about it in a different way to we did last year.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so moving on to think about what's emerging as one of the biggest strategic shifts for 2026. I think that's employee recognition.
Yes, an interesting one. And I really do think it's becoming less of a nice to have and more of a must have these days. With stats telling us that 1 in 5 employees, it's only 1 in 5 employees, that are feeling engaged. Recognition can become a real retention lever for organisations. Link it to inclusion, fairness, belonging, and actually ultimately a happier and more productive workforce.
Absolutely. And as AI tools and hybrid work models continue to reshape how people experience their jobs, we're seeing that recognition, when it's personal and frequent, has a much bigger impact.
Yes, and I guess there's a serious retention risk here. research shows that over half of undervalued or under-recognised employees are planning to leave their jobs next year unless things improve.
Well, that's huge, over half. And even beyond that group, about a third of all employees are considering quitting. So meaningful reward strategies, not just cash, but connection and appreciation are going to be vital. And that really does put reward and reward teams front and centre in terms of business strategy, especially if AI means that the more transactional stuff is done by machines and human are doing the stuff that needs, well, human intervention.
I guess, and we can't talk about reward trends and strategy without mentioning pay transparency, because June 2026 marks the go-live date for the EU Pay Transparency Directive.
Yes, and even though member states are still issuing guidance 6 months out, the direction of travel is clear, isn't it? Transparency and fairness are no longer optional, they're expected.
Exactly. Even in countries like the UK, where the legislation doesn't directly apply, employees are still asking the same question around, what am I getting? Mm-hmm. Why? And how can I grow my pay or reward?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's where reward principles come in, don't they? Fairness isn't just about equal pay anymore. It's about clarity, inclusion, and trust in how decisions are made. And I guess, that sort of amplifies how people feel about their leadership teams, don't they? And how much they trust the business more generally. And actually, that very point came up in a conversation within our forums recently, didn't it? Asking, how on earth can we robustly communicate all things reward and especially pay so that people understand it and buy it, don't just accept it. So we're definitely expecting to talk about that in 2026.
Yes, absolutely. So what else should we be watching out for as we move through 2026, do you think?
I think Wellbeing is going to very much be on agendas and continue to move centre stage, really. Reward packages are now expected to integrate mental health support, flexible benefits, no longer just an add-on. And it can't just be about providing an app for people. It's got to be a fundamental part of how work is done and people are supported and really getting underneath the work that is done.
Yeah, and seeing more and more benefits becoming more of a complex area to think about in that, we're looking at more data-driven personalization too. So organizations are using analytics and looking at MI and data that they have to tailor their benefit structures towards more individual preferences, driving performance, and even tailoring it towards each life stage for individuals.
Yeah, exactly. I think the idea that one size fits all pay and benefits will keep people happy, I think that's long gone. Flexibility and personal choice and insight-driven design really are the future.
Yeah, totally. And of course, how this all plays out depends on your organisation. It depends maybe on your sector, the size of your organisation, any legacy arrangements you've got in place. So there's so many factors to consider.
Absolutely, that's really true. So I think the key for 2026 is going to be staying adaptable. So recognising the human side of reward, that it's not all about process. While those processes are really important, we need to keep an eye on fairness, on compliance, and of course on cost, making it more about the individual and a genuine reward for them. I think it's going to be more important.
Yes, absolutely. So I think in summary, it's going to be yet another fascinating year for everyone, including us in the reward space.
Absolutely. Great place to be. Well, that's it for this episode of Getting Our Reward Heads Together. Thank you for listening. And as always, if any of that resonates with you and you'd like to support shaping your reward strategy for 2026, do get in touch.
Yes, you can reach out to us, as always, on rewardsolutions@rewardheads.co.uk. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Getting Our Reward Heads Together, brought to you by Reward Heads. We're a boutique reward consultancy working with organisations across the UK and beyond. Our mission is to help HR and reward leaders design fair, engaging and effective reward frameworks and solutions, from pay and benefits to recognition and governance. Every solution we create is bespoke, built around each client's unique goals and challenges. We also offer coaching, resourcing and trusted forums to keep you connected to the latest reward trends. If we can support your reward journey, we'd love to hear from you.